Council of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, April 18, 2024, advertised to begin at the conclusion of the work session meeting, which has now just ended. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5, 2024. Notice of the meeting of the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Present.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Peterson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let's begin our meeting by standing together for a moment of silence to be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda seeks approval of the minutes for April 4th, 2024, and the work session, April 4th, 2024, the regular meeting. Any comments, or if not, a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Anfield,
I'll second that.
second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
I'm going to abstain. I was on vacation last week.
Thank you. Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are ordinances. The first is final reading and adoption, ordinance 22406, amending chapter 200 of the Code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Development Regulations, so as to create new section 256.1 to be entitled Tree Removal and Replacement. And this came about, went through the planning board as mandated through the state in terms of the DEP and are having a plan in place concerning tree removal.
That's for stormwater management.
Yeah. And any other comments from council? If not, we'll go into the audience if there are any public comments or questions. Second reading and the hearing, ordinance 22406. Yes, sure, no, sure. Yes, Shirley.
Shirley Crystal, 700 North Bayview Avenue. Who's going to be enforcing this? Like if trees are too low, who's going to be telling them?
So what's too low? The trees?
Yeah, isn't that part of this? Like, yeah, who's enforcing this?
This is for tree removal.
This is a,
Removal.
But it also said about the height of branches, didn't it? And all that, like if a branch is too low and you have to duck your head.
That's
There's
code
something in there.
enforcement.
Huh?
That's code enforcement, that's,
So code enforcement's going to be taking care of
that
that.
is correct.
So then are they also taking care of the ordinance I brought up last time?
I think the attorney addressed that to you last time specifically.
No, I don't think he did. You told me to give addresses to the code enforcement.
No, I did not.
Let me see.
We'll actually take our attorney to answer that question. But that was for, I thought that was for, you talking about between the curb and the sidewalk.
Yes,
Yes.
and you said give addresses.
No,
I did, to the code enforcement.
the attorney answered,
Okay,
but
I'll pull it up and reread. So what happens? I have to do that. But the code enforcement's going out, can't they also do it?
Sure, I think what I said is there's only so many code enforcement people and so many,
Right.
so many problems in any town, including ours. So if you see something, if anyone sees something they believe is a violation, report it to the code enforcement officer so they can put it on their list and they specifically can go out and review as to whether or not there's a problem there.
Okay,
So-
right around. Thank you.
No problem.
any other comments on ordinance 22406? Hearing none, I would close the public hearing. I'd entertain a motion from council.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Council President Wilk, second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call?
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next is first reading and introduction ordinance 22411, amending amending section 200-17, the code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Public Hearings, Public Hearing Notices of Chapter 200 entitled Development Regulations. And this came about through several recommendations from the planning board to bring us in conformity with the relevant section of the Municipal Land Use Act. Any comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call?
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next item on the agenda are authorizations. There are two, I'll summarize. The first event is National Municipal Multiple Sclerosis Society 5K Walk. It's Saturday, April 27th, 2024, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. The location, parking lot 2. The second is also National Multiple Sclerosis Society Bike Ride, Saturday, May 11, 2024, 8:30 a.m. to 2:30, Ocean Avenue, 13th Avenue to 14th Avenue. And there's a note, both are conditioned upon Ocean County permit. I believe that did come in today.
The certificates of insurance.
And the certificates of insurance, so both would be conditioned upon approval being obtained from Ocean County. Both naturally require the certificates of insurance, and both came in today. However, they both need to have an amendment there to list the Borough of Seaside Park as an additional insured. So those are two conditions that if the governing body is so inclined to approve, should be incorporated. And with that, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Connor,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call?
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next is payment of claims, 224-143, approving payment of itemized claims as set forth on the check register bill list for the period April 5th to April 18th, 2024. Any questions, comments from council, or if not, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next are the resolutions. I'll read in summary fashion. 144, appointing seasonal employees for the Department of Beach Control. 145, approving coin toss dates for the Seaside Park Volunteer Fire Company number 1. 146, accepting the resignation of Dylan Schroeder, Public Works employee. 147, authorizing the appointment of seasonal employees for the Department of Public Works. 148, authorizing the adjustment of designated water sewer utility accounts. 149, appointing Class 1 trainees. 150, approving the designated calendar year 2024 amusement games license applications. 151, awarding the bid for lease of the N Street Bathhouse Building Garage Unit Number 2 for storage use and beach vending for ice cream water to Down the Shore Ice Cream LLC. 152, awarding a contract to P&A Construction, Inc. for the North Ocean Avenue Water Main Replacement Phase 3B. 153, establishing recreation fees as provided for in the Borough Code, Chapter 225, Article 1, Section 225.5, 154, accepting the resignation of Jeffrey Schwartz in the Code Construction Department. 155, authorizing the purchase of goods and services in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 4811-12 concerning contracts entered into on behalf of the state of New Jersey by the Division of Purchase of Property, the Department of Treasury. 156, authorizing the sale of certain borough-owned property. 157, awarding a contract to Earl Asphalt Company for fiscal year 222, fiscal year 223 NJ DOT Municipal Aid Program improvements to South Bayview Avenue Phases 1 and 2. Any comments from council on any resolutions?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to thank Mr. Schwartz for his time. He resigned, but he's actually retiring. And I really appreciate the work that he's done for the borough. I just want to express that.
I think we all second those sentiments. He really stepped up out of retirement, as he'd already had retired years ago, and was willing to help out in a time when we did not have someone with those qualifications, certifications, et cetera. So it was very nice of him, and I know he wants to travel more from what my conversations. Yeah. Anything else from council on any resolutions? If not, we'll go into the audience. They're not required by law. We allow comments on resolutions as well. If anyone has them, if they could give their name and address into the record. Hearing none. Yes, Faye?
Yes. Faye Herring, 21 West Street. I just have a question about the authorizations for the multiple sclerosis. I am assuming that the first one, the walk, is along the boardwalk. And the second one, the bike ride, is along the Ocean Avenue, up to the Heights or something. It just tells where it starts.
Well, it starts, it's actually,
Oh, do you want to know where it starts?
Well, I know where it starts. It says where it starts. It doesn't say where it ends.
Yeah, it goes all the way
yeah,
to Island Beach and then comes back down the ocean and back into Seaside Heights.
it's up, people that do this, I have a very good friend who does this, and you can pick how many miles you go on it, like he's doing 50. So there's a 75 and 100 mile trek that you're talking about, and a portion of it is coming obviously down through our town, so that, and then it goes down to Island Beach State Park. They come around and turn around and go back up again, so, yeah,
I was curious. It says, basically it says where it starts,
right.
but there's nothing where either one of them ends.
Yeah.
And like the walk, starts in parking lot 2.
Right.
So assuming it's going south.
Yeah, it's going to 12.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
other one goes to 14th, then down the bay, and like you're saying, goes.
It goes then down,
Okay.
and then to Island Beach, and,
I was just curious
Yeah.
because there's no basically ending point, just a beginning.
yeah.
We actually have a map on ours, just so you know, we have more information. So if they put us where it's going to be for us to vote on, we have the whole packet.
Any other comments on any resolutions? Yes, Nelson?
Nelson Roseling, 122 M Street. Mr. Mayor, just a question on what is the cash register bill list? What is that? I'm not familiar with that, just curious.
Which one?
That's
The bill list.
Bill list.
It's a list of what we have, what we see at every meeting. We do this twice a month, and where we go through all of the checks that need to be written. And once they're written by our finance department, the mayor verifies them and then does the final signature. For example,
This is done monthly, right?
it's done at
We're
every
doing bi-monthly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
every 2 weeks.
And our vendors.
Yeah, paying our vendors
There's
and
anything.
reimbursements. Also, there's one here right now For example, is when we pay our 1,186,000 for Central Regional, which is a second quarter.
And so you have a total for this particular list?
It has a total for what is done in this particular case.
Is?
Well, it goes by account. For example, the current fund ends up being a budget total of, well, that was with them. Excluding the Central Regional, it was like 85,000. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 103,091, 91 for the current fund. For the total of all funds is just $602,620.58.
That's without the one.
Right.
Yeah, excluding the Central Regional
Okay.
second quarter payment.
Thank you. Okay. I do have a question for Councilman Wilk regarding the code enforcement personnel. I understand this is our second code official in the last two and a half months that has left.
You retired.
This gentleman is not a code enforcer. This gentleman is a zoning officer. And we appointed a zoning officer 2 meetings ago, I believe.
Okay, that was my question. If you're going to replace it, and you have. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other comments on resolutions? Hearing none.
Mayor, I apologize for interrupting, but on 2024-151, the governing body has to decide whether we're going to go back and add sundries to the M Street Bad House. As the bid submission came in, that they added sundries again. So I did 2 resolutions. One with the bid spec that had snacks, and the submission that they made, which included chips and sundries. But I put snacks, chips, and sundries, just in case they want to do something more than chips, because our spec did allow snacks. So, the body needs to decide if they want to go ahead and allow the sundries, which I think were T-shirts, hats, or...
Suntan lotion.
It's not T-shirts, it's suntan lotion.
Suntan lotion.
Basically, it's suntan lotion.
Pails for little
You know,
kids.
Right.
Some pails and stuff. So if you want to include that, then you would specify you're going to include the bid submission by them as submitted, as opposed to the spec itself. They just want to be on the spec, which is fine. You can add it if you want, and see if we'll do it.
We discussed it.
Yeah.
We discussed it previously.
My understanding was the sundries won out, the way they submitted it. We wanted to make sure they know, and apparently they
Right, I understand.
absolutely know they cannot use the borough facility building in any
Right.
way. So that was a key point, and they are in agreement.
It's okay.
It's all good.
So,
Hey, they want to sell sundries, great. I have a hard time getting them.
so with that added note on the one resolution, do we have a motion for a consent, as a consent agenda?
So moved.
So motion by Councilmember Kraft, second by Council President Wilk. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the resolution agenda. Is there anything further from council at this juncture? And now, in terms of upcoming events, maybe take the lead. We have the Charborough event that's coming up. That's
Yeah,
important.
May 4th, they could really use the contributions, and it's a great meal that's being provided. This is the Kentucky Derby event on the 4th, May 4th,
Yeah, yeah.
$50 a ticket. Yes.
I think, didn't we get an email today that should be on our website?
That was a request, yeah.
Is there a prohibition against stuff like that? I mean, that's something I think we should do.
I think the more advertising we can do for them, the better.
Yes.
We'll have to send it to Karen and Jenna and see
Yeah.
if that can be put on there, the flyer.
It's just a flyer, no problem, right?
No, of course not.
So we'll put that up.
Yeah.
Also on May 4th in the morning, there is a shredding event at the 14th Avenue Bay location for document shredding. I believe it's from 9 to 12, I think. Jim, do you recall?
I think
It's a Saturday.
I think it's at 8 o'clock.
It might, yeah, Jim's check.
I believe, yes, it is.
I always found going a little later works better.
Yeah, there's a big line, first thing.
9 a.m. to 12 p.m., or until the truck is full.
It does entail a big lineup. I've been there.
So that's the same day as the Kentucky Derby event that's at Triborough. Please try to make it a point to attend. Be a great affair.
Very good. Anything else from council?
Mr. Mayor, the environmental committee is having a reclaim the bay, May 15th, right here. They're gonna have speakers about Barnegat Bay, and refreshments will be served. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. As you know, all invited. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
PM, right?
No, yeah.
Oh, AM?
Oh, in the PM. Yes, I apologize, in the PM. In the PM, thank you. I stand corrected.
And where will that be?
Right here, Mr. Mayor.
Reclaim.
Reclaim, not reclaim, reclaim.
Very good.
Don't confuse the two, Mr. Counselor, don't confuse the two.
Anything else from council?
Do you want to re-mention the fire department event coming up on June 22nd?
June, to mark that day, yeah, June 22nd. It's a celebration led by our fire company with a mini parade for the new pumper vehicle, and that's right downstairs and out in the yard area,
Right.
or parking yard area. So that's a happy event as well.
We don't anything.
Anything else from council? If not, we'll go into the audience. If there are any public comments, if anyone has them, if they could give their name and address. Yes, certainly. Michelle?
Yeah, one last time. Shirley Cressel, 700 North Bayview Avenue. In 1992, I came here about the flooding. That's like 31 years ago. I've aged just a little bit, but my patience are wearing. First of all, Mayor, I was given a message from Bill DeCamp to let you know that Manaloking fought with the state and was allowed to hook their streets up into their pump station.
Really?
So he said, yeah, it was just done. So he said to let you know that maybe you can contact somebody and fight to see if the state will allow us.
That sounds good.
Because they did
Willie
right
said
now.
that? Willie DeCamp?
Yeah. Yeah, he said, make sure I told you, and it came from him,
All right.
that they got hooked up to it. So perhaps we can push on that.
Yeah.
The flooding is getting,
Wow.
it's getting worse. And as you know, I stand here all the time saying something. By I Street, the county did come and dumped a huge pile of sand, but they dumped it north of where the flooding comes in. Not sure why, but the low spot has just this little tiny, and then there's a huge pile of sand. Again, I've asked for something to be done there. Even if you give a pile of sand and sandbags, I will get people together, and if we make it 2 wide and 1 high, I'm not asking for a mountain like they did last time. 2 wide, 1 high, just to slow down the constant, everyday flood from the high tide. It's not asking that much. We've done sandbags before. We're all getting a little tired of the flooding. I have the rock wall that has been broken apart from the wave action. Neighbors breaking stones all the time. The last flood we had on that Thursday, I got a call from a neighbor at 6 a.m. Move your car. I got up to Central. Going to work was a whole nother chore. Had to pack a bag, change your clothes, garbage bags up, holding the ties in the boot, to get to my car to get to work. As they look at me like, oh, you're flooded again. A reverse 911 would have been extremely helpful for a lot of people. I have someone that lives in town down by Marty Will, had to call out of work because she didn't know and it was too late to move her car. Somebody else was supposed to go out. We weren't told on that one. The one before we got notified on, we all praised. Thank goodness you told us, you gave us time to get our cars out. I don't care if I get a call at 5 a.m. I'd rather do that than lose my car, and so would everybody else. And if you walk Bayview Avenue, you'll see people with boards up against the garages, sandbags, the tubes that fill up with water. What we're at now is we want a meeting, not just me, and I know I'm the one that stands here, but we want a meeting like we had in the beginning, a meeting where they can come in here and explain what has been turned down, what they're allowing us to do, what the problem is. We're tired of it. I'm worn out. A couple people are thinking of selling their homes. Where do you go? Leave town? I don't want to. But I live alone and I am tired of this. We want a meeting and stop saying, well, we'll look into it. We want a meeting. If I need to get a petition, that's what I'll do. But this has to stop. We have to do something with I Street. And we have to find out exactly where we stand. Not 5 people sitting at a council meeting, of course there's more here this evening, and then you try to spread the word. No, I want a meeting, I want pictures, I want to know exactly what's going on, and every resident from Central Avenue to Bayview Avenue should have that right. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, Michelle?
Michelle Miller, 1500 Lake Avenue. It's not only Bayview Avenue, it's Lake Avenue. Karen sees it. Sometimes I'm sure she has a hard time getting out. It's become increasingly worse. I think someone mentioned something last meeting. We would love to know if we could have, as silly as it sounds, no wake signs. My neighbor across the street had to move out for a year renting someplace because her house once again is flooded. Trucks that come by are just going too fast. If you're talking about 15, 20 miles an hour, it's too fast. I'm sure, well, Denise could speak to it too, around the curve. I recall that there was a Bayside committee that Mayor Peterson had put together. I was hoping that one of the other gentlemen that usually is here would address what's happened. They've supposedly had meetings with Dr. Farrell and with Stockton State College. That fell apart during COVID. They were supposed to have Zoom meetings. Someone else that's on the committee just turned around and said, well, it just fell apart. Nobody wanted to do anything after COVID. All right, COVID is done. I don't know why we can't think about the oyster beds, about, a lot of things. But what Shirley had said about having a meeting, we want to know answers why we're being ignored. A lot of other people are getting the answers. We across the bay are, of course, more hit. You guys are going to get hit too. So we have to do something. My other thought is the website. Could that be updated? Is there somebody that could be responsible? A lot of these things are really good to be, noted. May 4th, the fire department, replanning the bay, a lot of things. It would be nice if it was in, on the website. Thank you.
Michelle, Michelle, as for the signs, at the last meeting, the governing body decided what they wanted on the sign. The signs have been ordered, they've been received, and they've been installed on all the barricades. So the next time we put the barricades up, the new signs will be on there.
That happened at the last council meeting.
Well, I think it would be nice if we had something on Lake Avenue, because people come around the curve and they come shooting down Lake. They're not, having to come up O Street or one of those streets that see that. And indeed, the barricades are great, but they somehow or other forget about it when they get to the bay. Because that would help. But thank you for addressing it.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes.
I know. Hi, Scott Becker. I live next to Shirley. 704 Bayview. I just want to say, I endorse and support everything Shirley's saying. I mean, at some point, you have to go with the eye test, right? I mean, you can see it. The eye test, when the waves are crashing in the middle of Bayview Avenue, and I'm the one that you alluded to that's raking the stones every couple of days. It's a great workout. I sort of don't mind that part of it, but I just feel like, and again, we're very appreciative of, my wife and I, of everything you guys do. You volunteer. I do the same thing with the yacht club and other boards and things like that, so I'm not here to be critical. But I would just like to see some more proactivity, maybe some best practice, asking other towns, like was mentioned before with the pump, how does Lavalette get the oyster thing done, or what they did? So I know a lot of work's gone into it. I was at a meeting a couple of years ago with the Army Corps of Engineers were here, so I know work's been done. It's not like people are sitting on their hands, but there's got to be a way we can be more proactive. I mean, when the waves are crashing in the middle of Bayview Avenue, literally, and rolling up in people's front yards, I hear you, it's bad at other places too. It's not just about Bayview Avenue, but it's not great on Bayview. And we don't want to leave either, so we're not going to. So, thank you for listening.
No, thank you. I mean, it's an extremely frustrating situation. I think everyone up here totally sympathizes with everything that's going on and are amenable to any and all positive solution that entails something that can be permitted. We've even made a determination, if they're not going to give us a grant, we fund it as a town, and we put that in several budgets already, and unfortunately no permits on one particular project have been obtained, but we are absolutely mindful of it and very, very sympathetic. It's affecting all of us. It's our quality of life here and our property values, actually keeping the town together.
What else can we do? I mean, I don't think we get back up, right?
No, I mean, we're exploring any and all avenues. We're more than frustrated as well, I think, with some of the regulatory agencies, and we've felt that we were whipsawed, if that's the right word, between two federal agencies and a state agency, where we would change to meet one particular set of conditions or added components, and then the other agency would not okay what the one did, and that's happened twice. We haven't given up. That's one project that we're also moving ahead in other avenues. I think it's fair to say we're frustrated that we would consider any and all other solutions for the entire Bayfront. But
yeah, I mean, I think we're suffering from perception with certain people, right? You hear about the eelgrass and other considerations, and I'm just being honest. When I'm staring out my window and I'm seeing the waves crash in the middle of Bayview Avenue, I'm not really thinking about the eelgrass. I mean, with all respect.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I think by doing nothing, the federal agencies are decreasing the eelgrass. They're creating a harmful effect to eelgrass by doing nothing. And they don't seem to accept that point. We've made that, and you're correct. We had some of actually, one's a national expert, Dr. Farrell, but Lavalette, you referenced in particular, but the 9 Barrier Island towns together were right now circulating, and there's a draft of a joint services agreement for the Barrier Island. The 9 mayors, it's the Mayors Association, we're going to look for a shared services grant for state funding for a Bay-wide approach, and everyone is involved in that. And I know I brought it up a couple of years back, and it seems to have taken off now, And you're correct, La Loretta's feeling they closed, the last two floods closed Route 35, Normandy, Whitley, where all the traffic was diverted when the water came over. So it's every town. And I don't disagree with you. It's very, very dire. It's something that has to be addressed or explored in every way possible.
John? may I-
Yes, Shirley?
When we have a meeting, is there anybody that can write to? I've asked for a list, and, I suggested.
Mean
that we make a
elected?
list.
Elected people, you mean? That kind of,
But yeah, anybody, I don't care, I'll write,
I mean.
Start writing to the
I'll
county
write
commissioners.
one.
Yeah, I mean,
But I'd asked for a list, because I'm sure you have all those addresses, that maybe if, they get a couple here for a meeting, so, we'll bring pictures,
Can I make a?
yeah, sure,
Can I
yeah.
make a comment? I hear everything you're saying. It's not the first time I've heard you say it, and many others say it. And I guess it's okay if we say, Republican Club meeting at the same discussion. So it's not, it's not a Bayfront problem. It's a Seaside Park problem that all of us suffer from. And I had suggested to Karen and the mayor a couple months back, and we were, of course, then working through budget, so the timing wasn't great. But I also suggested to Chuck, who leads up that committee, that, as he says, reports to the mayor, is that we need to document everything that's happened, to your point, so that if there are perceptions that maybe are fact, maybe they're not, that we set the record straight. And there ought to be a talking sheet that every one of us who sits here and every one of you that are there have the facts. What's been done? I want to see a timeline. What did we do in 1992? What did we do in 2000? Blah, 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 blah. We are here. What do we have active? And what's our ultimate objective? And I think we do need to have the engineers that we're paying to help us. We need to have the county people, if we can get them, and whoever else is appropriate. But I think you have to put together, in my opinion, that storyboard needs to be put together with the facts before you have the meeting. Because if you just have a meeting, it's going to be a crap show. We all know that it's just going to become a session where nothing's going to get accomplished. So I think you need to set the record straight about what's been done. And I'm just saying it from my perspective. I'm only here for, over a year sitting in this position. I wouldn't be able to articulate all the facts. And I should be able to, and I can't. And I think everybody has a right to know what's been done, what are we currently in agreement with different entities to do for us, whether that be the colleges, whether it be the engineers, whether it's your mayor's groups, because you're doing a lot of things. But everybody needs to know what those are and, determine what's effective, and maybe somebody else will come up with some great idea. I don't know. But I think that has to be done before you have a meeting. To have a meeting, I think, is not going to be effective without that. That's my opinion.
The meeting is so that we don't feel we've been kicked aside. And I mean, there's a lot of people in this room, I think, that have that feeling. And maybe a show of hands.
But if you had the meeting tomorrow without all that information, Shirley, I think you'd still feel kicked aside because you wouldn't have the
No, because
facts.
we would be informed.
Right, but you need to be informed with the facts, is what I'm saying. I think that has to be
Oh,
put
I can write
together
down what's
first.
happened since 1992.
All right, by all means, I'd be happy to take your facts. No, I know what's happening on the bay. I mean what's happening so that you have the list. At the end of it, you want to come out of there saying, this is what's been done, here's where we are, what can you do now? Here's the list of people to call, here's the people it's not worth calling. That's what I would want.
Short list.
Right? I mean, well, it's not really a short list.
Well, in our aspect of sitting on the bayfront, yes, it is a short list. Yes, the wall got built. Good. Our street's been done. The outflows fell apart.
Then you can ask Chuck to have a meeting. I'm just responding to what you said. I know, I'm responding to it, saying what I think has to happen to have an effective meeting. If you don't think that's necessary and somebody wants to coordinate another meeting, go for it.
Tina, I agree with what you're saying, but how would that happen?
Okay,
Nancy,
we have to abide by the Open Public Meetings Act, I'm sorry. Anyone has any comments, I'd certainly,
No. Hi. Nancy Voloshin, 109 Island Avenue. I agree absolutely with what you're saying, but how would that get done?
I think it has to be the mayor working with the committee that started and working with the council. I've offered my help to Karen or anybody else who wants to put that document together. And we put it together and then a meeting gets set.
But
I don't know
realistically, like
that.
in a month, in 2 months, in 5 months?
We all live here. As soon as somebody's ready
I mean,
to get
that-
together to do it, we
I
can
mean,
do it.
the committee itself has a lot of, I don't know what, firepower, a lot of expertise. There are a couple engineers on it. One
Question.
used
It's great, but we have
one
no
used to be
clue.
the former
I think
county
there's one
engineer
wrong
and trust,
form.
and
We don't know how to get informed, I understand. And I think that's the frustration that everybody's asking, because before COVID and when the engineers were here, and I came to those meetings as well, you were informed and there seemed to be timelines. So now I don't know if there's a place where that information is, or if Gina's saying there isn't a place and we need to recreate that timeline so that everybody's informed.
the
Is that
timeline.
the issue? What Gina's saying?
I don't think, in my opinion, I'm just speaking for myself, I can't speak for the mayor. In my opinion, that document does not exist. That I believe it's
is that the
institutional
starting
knowledge of the
point?
people who have been doing the work. And I'm not saying there's not work being done, but I'm suggesting to have a meaningful discussion to get people all on the same page. You need to have what the facts are.
So what if you had the
So I think
meeting and
your
that
question
person
is-
presented
That's
a
what I'm
short bullet,
suggesting.
and you
yes.
didn't delay having Shirley's meeting, and you just presented, that would be the first meeting? That's my.
I understand that.
Yes, sir.
Tom Joseph, 704 South Bayview Avenue, even when the road's completely flooded, side to side, front to back. I agree with you, Mrs. Condos, we need to do those things. I spent a career managing projects and programs, and what I found is when people say things like that, it's important and it's sensible, but nothing gets done. The way you do that is you schedule a meeting, you go to the engineering firms that are supporting this town, and you tell them what the agenda of the meeting is, you give them a list of things to talk about, you tell them the date of the meeting, you announce the date of the meeting, and then you hold the meeting. So if the mayor has to organize it, great. If you need to use that committee that hasn't met in forever that reports to you about that, great. Schedule a meeting, let us all know when it's going to be, tell the engineering firms that are supporting this that they better be there and what they're going to talk about, and if they show up and aren't prepared to talk about, fire them. But just to sit here and say, we ought to do this, we ought to do that, but nobody takes responsibility for doing it. If you do that, that would be great. As far as the Corps of Engineers and the issues we've been having, I have a very simple suggestion. Call up Chris Smith and say, go fix this for our town. Tell him to stop wasting time on projects and things that he likes to talk about that have nothing to do with the things that Seaside Park needs to have happen to move forward. Because all the things he's doing are not going to stop another whale from dying, but we need to solve the bay flooding problems. And he should be helping us with this. His last newsletter, I didn't see anything about bayfront flooding. These are the issues that are important to this town. They are nonpartisan, and they should be dealt with by our representatives in the federal and state government. I don't think this is hard to figure out, but we need to do something, and somebody needs to demonstrate some leadership. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, Faye?
Faith Aaron, 21 I Street. Here's previous administrations, as far as using the webpage. It was frowned upon, anything that was not directly town-related. Triborough was not allowed to put anything on. The Garden Club wasn't allowed to put anything on. Anything that was not directly sanctioned by the town council was not allowed to go on the webpage. That was fine. We had a newspaper then. We could put activities in the paper. People could find out about what's happening. Now there's no way for residents to find out what's going on. You need to put the fire company information on. Joe's done a great job with rec. Summer's coming. There's going to be a lot of rec activities. But there are other things in town that are not directly rec related, like the fire company parade. people will come if they know about it. And a lot of times they don't find out about it until it's over, and they can't show up. We need to find a way to let the people in town know what's happening in an appropriate time manner. And I think the webpage could be used a lot more. I think, I honestly think the reverse 911, Shirley said if it's flooded, they could do that. They don't want to use that because previous administrations, they let them put recreational type things and announce them on that. People complain they were getting too many calls. Now we complain because we're not getting any calls about anything. And it's a way, if there's a way that we could utilize that and let them know what's happening in town. They're my feelings.
Thanks, Becky. Any other public comments? Yes, sir, Mike?
Mike Spadafino, 59th Avenue. I was on the webpage today. I signed up for a newsletter. Is there a newsletter? There's a little thing on the right bottom side that said, sign up for a newsletter. So I signed up for a newsletter. Is there a newsletter that lets us know the information that she was
There's a
talking about?
Taxpayers Association newsletter. What is it, on our webpage?
Yes. I have had to check a thing saying, I'm not a robot.
Sure.
I mean, if we had somebody should be writing it that would fulfill what she was talking about. I think it's a great idea. I don't mind getting my newsletter by email. I think that would be cool. But the other thing I was going to ask, if there's, of what happened on Thursday, I mean, the other day with the Seaside Heights, Tom's River, if somebody could just summarize what that all means and how it may or may not affect us. If somebody could just put it together so I can finalize it in my head. Yeah.
I'm going to ask Joanne. No.
Oh, thank you, Joanne.
Joanne Penn, 208 Cape Court. The election was held on Tuesday, the referendum for both Toms River, Beechwood, South Toms River, and Seaside Heights. I'm missing.
Pine Beach.
Pine Beach, somebody. Referendum was, depending upon the way it was written, Seaside Heights decided that they did not want to remove themselves from Central Regional. Toms River overwhelmingly said they wanted to. So both parties had to accept it. And so consequently, Seaside Heights will remain in Central Regional District. How that affects Seaside Park, I believe someone up on the council is better able to respond to that.
From a budget perspective, according to the business administrator at Central Regional, our school tax should go down 4.4 cents this year.
That was only if that K through 12 had gone through, which it did not.
No, if it did not go through.
Oh, it did not.
Right. If it did go through, then it would have been like 0.6 cents. It might be less.
Okay.
It's 4 and change. So in that direction, it's a positive thing.
There's basically no change.
But as far as an impact, yeah, beyond that, I don't know of any other impact.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Council President Wilk. Second by Council Member Rotunda. Roll call.
Council President Wilk? Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos? Yes. Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank everyone for coming out this evening. Have a good